She's alive. Alive!
So say that again. You reckon your hand-eye coordination is perfect. Absolutely. You can catch anything thrown at you.
Is this going to be...
Oh, I'm going to fucking throw shit at you for the rest of the fucking episode and see what you catch.
Good. You're right beside me. Of course I'm going to catch it, Josh.
Yeah? Catch this. Terrible.
You didn't give me
Terrible.
Chance, Josh.
Oh, right in my head.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You got me in my face.
Welcome to the Horrorverse headlines. Amy's throwing pens at me.
You started it, in fairness.
Do you know what? Just to start that, because I'm going to talk about it a little later, right? But we're going to edge away from the true crime a little bit, but a little update, right? Little updates. Well, not really an update. Do you know what's bonkers? There's nothing happening with that fucking case out in Kenmare with the dead farmer that we talked about a few weeks ago on here.
They're
with the cat farmer who was chopped up and thrown into a slurry pit. There's been nothing.
I saw like a week or two ago, though, that they were back on the farm investigating.
Yeah, but I mean, when they arrested a suspect and the suspect is busking around Tralee, you'd think that maybe they were on him, but fuck me, I don't know.
Is it because they don't have a murder weapon?
Probably, even though I didn't have that chainsaw. So
I think the chainsaw was missing.
No, they found the chainsaw.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they found it in a thick brush of shit. And not so much an update either, but we were doing the Diddy watch, right? And for the first few weeks, that shit was fun, and then it got boring as hell.
Yeah, the ins and outs. They had some charges dropped against him, though.
Not much. I was watching the
kidnapping one.
The closing statements of. No, they brought that up multiple times today.
I read this morning that the
maybe it
kidnapping
was one of the kidnapping fucking
Cassie
cases.
and Capricorn.
No, they were both mentioned in the closing arguments by the prosecution today. The defense have their closing arguments tomorrow, and then next week the jury is going to head off. But see what happened with Jane, pseudonym Jane, came up, and she reddened him. As far as I'm concerned, she kind of proved an awful lot against him. And then after that, it was just all, bringing up expert witnesses to go back over text messages we've read a million fucking times. So it just got kind of nothing to talk about. But I was still reading along every day. I don't know. They're very confident. Apparently, all the witnesses were called by the prosecution, none by the defense. And whereas the prosecution, I can't remember what it was. It was like a huge amount, like 20 odd hours or something like that, to prove the case against him, as opposed to 30 odd minutes of defense talk. So they're really, really confident going into this that they have this handled, I think, or else they're just giving up.
Which the defense, the prosecution,
the defense. So I don't know. I suppose we'll find out next week, won't we? Well, depending on how long the jury take to.
Is it that they recognize that he's kind of like a piece of shit, but that the charges that were brought against him haven't been proven?
Well, that's what they're saying. That they should have just done him for fucking domestic violence and 1 or 2 on drug charges and gun charges, and they probably would have had him for a good few years. But they fucked up. We'll see. We'll find out next week. But like I said, I'm going to try and push away for that. We do have one funny story to go over later, but I have plans. I have plans. We'll get to it at the end of the show.
You have plans.
First of all, let's have a look at some movie news, right? This one caught my eye. No, sorry. We'll do this one first. We have a new Mummy coming.
We do.
Lee Cronin's The Mummy, and he made Evil Dead Rises, so I'm very confident about this one, and it's coming out on April 17, 2026. It is already filmed. They've just finished filming. It is going to star people I don't know. Jack Rayner from Midsommar, haven't seen Midsommar.
We do know him.
Leah Costa from Victoria, I never saw that. May Calloway from Moon Knight, I have seen that, still don't know who she is. Veronica Falcone from Queen of the South, never saw that. May Elgetty from Clash, don't know that. Know where Clash is, but yeah. Well, anyway, only thing is there's a good news, bad news thing here.
What?
Bad news is this is not Universal's The Mummy. This isn't a Universal Mummy. This isn't a reboot. This isn't a remake. This is something brand new.
Okay.
The good news, Universal have 2 Mummy movies in the works.
Okay.
A prequel to the Brendan Fraser movies and a sequel to the Brendan Fraser movies.
Okay. I love a good Mummy. I'm excited for those ones. I just see that what's his name? I'm the director. Oh my God, you just said his name. Lee Cronin. He said that he's going to it's going to be scarier, that he's going to dig down like deep, and it's going to be like knock your socks off basically. I just don't understand how you can make a Mummy movie scarier than it already is. I suppose
you can make it more gruesome.
You could make it
We
more
haven't seen a
gruesome.
gruesome
No.
movie. Not a popular gruesome movie.
No.
I don't know what the Tom Cruise one was like.
I've never seen it.
I don't watch Tom Cruise movies with the exception
Lies.
of one or two. With the exception of one or two. Okay.
2 I've seen you watch. Interview with the Vampire and Minority Report.
I was forced to watch Interview with a Vampire. I didn't go in there willingly to watch
It was a good movie though.
You liked it.
I
I'm
loved
not
Interview
into
with the
romantic
Vampire.
fucking horror. I'm into blood, guts, splatter, fucking twist, turn, thriller.
You should watch
fucking...
the TV show. The TV show Interview with
I
the Vampire.
agreed to
That was
watch that
decent.
with you, but I mean, instantly once you said Tom Cruise, and I was like,
It took forever to get you to watch that. And then one year was my Halloween pick.
What?
Interview with the
Oh,
Vampire.
yeah. The only 2 I like by him is Minority Report, and that's in spite of him, not because of him.
Okay.
And American Made was very good.
Yeah, I mean, when we were watching Minority Report the whole way through, it was like, he's not a really good actor. How is he getting this?
He's shocking. We'll talk about it later. Never mind it. Anyway, that is coming. I'm looking forward to all 3 of those movies.
Yeah.
A prequel, a sequel, and how would they do the prequel? Go back to the mummy before he was mummified, that little kind of intro bit
I'm
that we get at
thinking
the start
that
of the mummy.
either that or we're going to see, it mightn't be as much far back as that, and you'll get like, do you know the band, the Protectors, the that in the black kind of get up.
I haven't seen the mummy in a very, very long time.
It was the only hot guy in the movie.
Oh yeah, that's the one I was remembering when I was 12 and watching that movie.
He's
Whoa,
all
look at
in
him.
black. He's Egyptian. He's basically the Protector, so nobody goes
He's
in.
got a bit of a beard.
Yeah, the long kind of hair. Yeah,
I remember.
I wonder will they kind of like
So
focus it
fucking
around that? Oh, I knew it.
So I'm looking forward to all of them. I want to see this. I want to see a fresh take on the mummy, especially since people shit all over. I haven't seen the Wolfman yet, but people kind of were shitting on that when it came out, and that had kind of a lot of steam behind it as well when it was coming. People were kind of going, "Oh yes, a new Wolfman," and then all the reviews were kind of like, "Eh." So I haven't gotten around to watching it yet.
Okay.
And I'm not really. I like the old Universal movies, but the premise of what they do their movies on doesn't interest me all that much. I mean, I like watching the classics, but I don't get super excited when I hear one of those monster movies are coming because to me they are these black and white classics, you know? No, I'm looking forward to seeing the new Frankenstein. I'm more looking forward to seeing the new Bride.
I think that's a musical. Oh no, sorry. The Bride is a musical. Yeah. Frankenstein then is Mia Goth.
No. Mia Goth's in the musical one with Christian Bale, I think.
That's Jessie Buckley with Christian Bale in The Bride.
Oh, fuck. I don't know. Why are they releasing so many of these fucking movies?
I have no idea. It's Mia Goth with Jacob Elordi. Is that his name?
Yeah.
So they're in that movie together. And then it's Christian Bale and Jessie Buckley in the other one. We are also getting a new Creature from the Black Lagoon at some stage.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm. That is being done. It's a script by Sean Tretta and it's going to be directed by James Wan.
And a new Dracula that looks almost identical to the Gary Oldman Dracula. Except the guy playing Dracula is nastier looking. It's the dude from fucking Get Out that everybody hates.
Yeah. He's got one of those. I'm sure he's a lovely person. Faces. He's just got one of those faces that it's good for an unlikable character. Although Dracula
is supposed to be. Well, I don't know. Like, I mean, Nosferatu, Count Orlok was an ugly motherfucker, and he was pulling women left, right, and centre. The whole fucking world went mental for him when he came out.
Yeah, but I think that's what's beautiful about Gary Oldman's Dracula. I mean, like you see, like he's not awful looking, but he's extremely like, you know, well, he's a monster. But then when he puts on that top hat and that grey suit with the long hair, my God, like.
Hear the end of it. Do you know what I'm looking forward to? And I only found out about it today. Is fuck your Frankenstein, fuck your Bride. Bring it to the youth. Young Frankenstein is coming back.
I'm happy with that one.
A reboot TV show, which is being pushed forward by the people who made What We Do in the Shadows.
Tiki Waititi. Say What We Eat in the Shadows. That would work as well.
Tiki Waititi is going to direct the first episode.
Cool.
Mel Brooks is 100% behind it.
Decent.
He says it's all good. Go for it.
Cool.
I'm looking forward to that. That's a classic. That was probably the first Frankenstein I ever saw when I was a kid. Young Frankenstein. I mean, I knew the story of Frankenstein. Everyone knows
all knew the story of Frankenstein.
But because you probably saw it in cartoons and replay it on like The Simpsons and shit like that. But this was my first kind of black and white follow the story kind of thing. So I think the idea was to put this on for me because it was humorous, but I'd still get to see the story.
Yeah. My second one I think was it was the Robert De Niro one.
Yeah, me too. I was desperately disappointed.
Oh my God, I love that one as well.
Yeah, but remember now, I was in my young teens and all I want, when I heard horror, I thought of like Michael and Jason and Freddy.
Yeah.
So that was horror to me. This seemed like very, at the time, it was my mom's kind of horror.
It's gothic
horror.
horror.
And I actually think it's my mom that put it on for me. She was the one that had it on, and she hates horror. I was only talking to her last day. I was like, oh, the boys are going to bed. No, they're going up to bed. They want to watch The Mummy in bed and chill out. And she was like, oh, I wouldn't sleep. Like, The Mummy's like fucking 12s, woman.
My mom's like that with vampires.
Like, no, none of it. I don't like any of it. I was like, all right, fair enough. I could swear when I was a kid, I remember some of those stuff being around the house.
Are we just desensitized, maybe? I don't know. I mean, they're not exactly scary movies.
Yeah, that was funny when we were watching Minority Report the last day and he was getting his eyes transplanted. And you were like cringing in the corner. And at first I closed my eyes because I hate eye stuff. Mm-hmm. Just eye stuff. I can watch everything else. Eye stuff and needles, I'm not a big fan of. But when he opens the eye to replace the eyes, both of us cringed for a second. I was like, hold on a fucking minute. This is a Steven Spielberg PG-13
explain though
movie.
why I was cringing. It's because maybe you had your eyes closed for this part, but when they got like the hooks to put underneath his eyelid, it was that anxiety of, are they going to like hook his eyelid, or are they going to scratch his eyelid? Are they going to be able to do it properly?
Once I remembered it was a PG-13 Spielberg movie, I was like, they're not going to show shit.
But then his eyes were so, you could see like nearly the full ball, like you could see all the curves down under the eyelids, like it was a lot. That was probably his own as well.
What?
Man does everything.
Fucking asshole. Anyway, this only caught my attention because of what we were watching this week, right?
Okay.
And the only reason, it's Chai Lewis Parry, who is the alpha zombie in 28 Years Later.
Yes.
Has said he wants to be in Predator, which would make sense. He probably has the size for it. He's an MMA guy, right?
Yeah. He's huge.
So he'd have the size. But even though I'd say most of the Predators these days, mostly CGI, doesn't really matter who. There's not really a suit. I think it's just a person running around in a fucking green costume.
Oh, do you think?
I would say it's similar to, I mean, like you look at the Marvel movies, hardly anything they're actually wearing in the movies.
Their capes
they wear a very
fake.
basic fucking design, and then the rest of it is just added in afterwards, like,
Yeah.
Basically, when they're on set, it looks like a shit Halloween suit. And then when it comes out on the screen, it's like, whoa. I mean, even Captain Marvel's hair was fake when she had a short.
Her hair was fake. Henry Cavill's top lip was fake. His cape was fake. I wonder, is that a safety thing, though? So he can't get tangled up and stuff with the cape.
No idea. Maybe it's just, I think the flow of it would look better with CGI. You can make it move whatever way you want. You can manipulate it to do whatever you want, as opposed to trusting air and a flapping to the cloth. No, this caught my eye because he has a role in the remake of The Running Man. And we haven't seen The Running Man yet, but it was one on my list for this week.
Oh, I might have.
It's a Stephen King movie.
Yeah.
Or a Stephen King book that he wrote under his pseudonym of Richard Bachman. This is like a name he used early on for some stories he wrote. Yeah. Like one in particular, I can't remember. Rage is the name of the one in particular. It's banned from a lot of places because it's about school shooting.
Oh, okay.
But he wrote that as Bachman as well. But The Running Man essentially is an Arnold Schwarzenegger dystopian future movie where I believe the premise is that when you break the law, you go onto this wild fucking game show, and you have to win the game show to get out of it.
I might have seen this a long time ago. The stills in it are looking familiar. I don't think we were together when I watched it, so you're going back more than 10, 15 years. Like.
Yeah, I've never seen it, but it's definitely one I want to watch, so I'm looking out for that.
Show,
I doesn't say when this is coming. Hang on 1 minute. 5 small long blah, 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 blah.
Which, The Running Man or the new?
Yeah. Running Man is set to reach theaters in November 7th. So that's awesome.
Okay, that's not that long.
So that's this year, so we have to enjoy that. But we're probably going to watch that movie this week, considering what we've been watching all week. We'll see. We got to work out if we have the time. We got more recording to do tonight.
I have time.
Next up is the Clayface title role goes to Tom Rhys-Harris. Who is he?
I do recognize him. I'll get him what he was in now. Can I just say I am slightly disappointed by that casting.
Well, more than he Resident Alien.
Absolutely, and I know
Alan
he
Tudyk.
does the voice. Yeah, he does the voice in Harley Quinn, but it's just perfect. I thought I
heard really early on that he was the one to get this fucking part. No, that was before I had heard that Mike Flanagan was on to direct it. So maybe he was in the running, and it was like Mike Flanagan came in and said, he's not my kind of guy, or I can't use him for the role. Because this is supposed to be a body horror.
Oh.
That's what they're releasing it as.
Okay.
This is going to be an R-rated, standalone horror tragedy.
Oh, I like Clayface too much to see him upset.
Well, it's going to be based on the introduction of Clayface to Batman the Animated Series.
Okay.
Which kind of shows him as a kind of struggling actor, and then the whole Clayface thing helps him become a better actor, but then he's got to deal with the whole Clayface thing and messing with his mind. Kind of like Two-Face in The Dark Knight, where he's all good, and the next thing this happens to him, and he slowly starts to he very quickly loses his mind and goes on a rampage.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to that. But who is this guy?
I don't think he's anything that we've seen. He's in Dragonheart Battle for the Heartfire, but I've never seen that one as much as I love Dragonheart. He's not in anything that we've seen.
Yeah, well, let's see how he does.
He looks so familiar, though.
Do you know why? I think he reminds, and I think that picture we're looking at
There's
right
somebody,
here.
yeah. Is he an English actor that I'm thinking of?
I think you're thinking of the guy that plays Margaret Thatcher's son in The Crown.
Oh, no. The guy
I know
that
they
I'm
look nothing
seeing.
alike, but I just think that picture is just bringing me to it because he's standing in front of the van. He's got the overalls. They've got a very similar skull on their face.
Yeah, if him and the guy that played Malcolm McLaren had a baby.
Same haircut. Yep, yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
What's his name again? Game of Thrones guy.
Terrible at names, so it doesn't make
Can't
any
remember
difference.
his name.
Mike Flanagan has also started filming Carrie, which will star Matthew Lillard.
As Carrie.
Oh, amazing. Carrie was a little girl that was playing, well, obviously it's a little girl playing Carrie. Stupid.
A little girl.
Not a little girl. Sorry, last thing I saw she was in.
Curse of Chucky and Cultist.
Yes,
Chucky.
that's it. It's the little girl from Curse of Chucky.
Summer H. Howell. Yeah, I know her.
They had to put a...
She's 21.
At the time of filming,
yeah,
they had to cover Chucky up when he was talking to her because she was so afraid of the doll.
That's so cute. That would be exactly what would happen if our youngest had to...
I was showing him videos of Chucky yesterday and he was laughing. He thought they were funny.
Oh, okay.
Them again. Okay. He's fallen into that whole horror thing now as well, with the mild horror that we're giving him.
Yeah.
Like The Mummy.
Like The Mummy. But having said that, The Mummy's one of the best to start
and Psycho
with.
Gorman. He fell asleep during that though.
He fell asleep for The Mummy as well.
Well, come here. He's 7 and he starts the movies at like 9:30. He ain't going to last.
No. He was gone. Conked.
So is there any idea or indication of when we're going to get this Carrie show? Well, if they start the film, I'd have to assume it's going to be next year sometime.
Next year. I mean, The Mummy. We started filming 24th this year. Is it November 2026 that that's slated for? So if you kind of on the same timeline, I suppose.
Yeah, but I know with TV shows, sometimes they'll edit and have like a handful of them ready and they'll still be tipping away at the second half of the season. That's why you notice when there's like writer strikes or strikes in Hollywood that your favorite show will just stop mid-season. Yeah, because I think it happened with Chucky on the last season, didn't it? Or the second last season. It had to stop for a while because it was the last season with the White House season. It stopped for a while because of the strike and because they couldn't finish off what they had already. It was filmed, but they couldn't finish editing it.
Is that the same reason that that episode of Game of Thrones was leaked that time without the proper sound effects and music? Do you remember it was leaked and it was almost perfect, except there were some sound effects and stuff like that were just kind of like what was there on the day instead of having them done by the Foley artist or whatever.
I don't know. I haven't seen that one. I do remember the same thing happened to Wolverine.
Maybe it was Wolverine I'm thinking of.
Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool first. I think that actually got leaked without any of the special effects on it.
Oh no.
So, it was just people in green screen and shit like that. And I remember people were watching it and stuff like that. I was like, I'm not going to watch this shit. Why would I want to watch a half-done film? There's no point.
Even if I was excited for it, I'm not ruining it for myself.
I'm going to wait for the perfect version of it. I mean, you've seen how many times like movies have come out that don't come out in the cinema local to us and we can't get to see them. And then we get our hands on a pirated version. I'm just like, I don't know.
We just wait for it to come out.
I don't want to watch a shit version of this.
People standing up and sitting down and coughing.
I have to watch a sample of a verse and be like, okay. Or, but I have high standards for that shit. I mean, you want to enjoy the movie.
You do.
You know? One more little piece of horror news is we have a Fright Night prequel coming, but it's a prequel novel written by Michael Harburn, but under the team of Tom Holland. Tom Holland's going to be behind this as well, so which means it's going to be, canon and it's going to be true to what we've seen already. I hope they decide to make that. I assume that they would make a movie out of this afterwards. I mean, Tom Holland has the stroke to get this movie made if he wants to, like, you know?
Oh, he does, yeah.
Even though he's got to be old enough at this point.
So you said Tom Holland had a stroke.
Might have. I mean, he's getting old. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that too. I don't know when that's coming. Obviously, it's going to be out in October, but obviously if it's coming out as a book, and that's to mark the 40th anniversary of Fright Night. So if it's coming out as a book first in October, you'd have to assume we're going to be another 2 or 3 years before we see that in the screen. But I mean, it's nice to know that this IP is being made and that we will eventually get our hands on it, like, you know?
Yeah.
Even though that's not always true, I was always surprised that Harry Potter and the Cursed Child never came out as a movie. So especially a little later on. I mean, they could make that now with the original actors.
Yeah, they could.
You know, they're old enough to play those parts, but...
Would you get enough out of it though? I have the script upstairs, like, and it is.
They got a stage show out of it. I'm sure they can make a movie out of it.
Oh, a movie? I thought you said TV show. Yeah,
No.
Yeah.
I mean, the TV show's coming in as well, like, you know, which will kind of reset everything again, you know. So I don't know, unless they wait for the TV show to be over and then bring back the old actors as nostalgia and stuff like that. I'm not 100% sure. Right, we'll have a look at. There's one. I suppose you call it true crime. I think, like, instead of true crime, I like dumb criminal stories. Do you know? And this to me is
a dumb criminal story.
The height of fucking stupidity. So, what's the NH? Oh yeah, New Hampshire. A New Hampshire woman was arrested. Now this is from back in February for urinating on in a grocery store on the groceries. And when they confiscated her phone after arrest, there were 4 years. No, it mightn't have been her phone because she did have an OnlyFans page, but 4 years worth of content of her pissing on shit.
Bet you she made a fortune.
Probably. It's going to cost her a fortune.
It's going to cost her a fortune,
like, apparently, the store, which was Monadnock Food Corp, they say they cost them roughly $1,500 in ruined products and cleaning expenses. And they had to recall a bunch of shit as well because of where she had pissed.
I wondered the other videos, like where the police going through it going, right, well, that restaurant got absolutely decimated this night. We know that these customers that ate here probably got wee food.
God damn, man. Can you imagine that? I'm going to have to start smelling the products before I put them into my trolley now. Fucking bad enough I had to look at all the fucking labels to see whether they're from Israel or not. No, it's like, not Israeli, not PP. In you go.
Not PP.
That's disgusting. She got done again,
nasty.
though.
What?
This wasn't a one-time thing. She got done twice. April 17th, she was done for absolutely destroying a hotel room in PP and not just PP, poo-poo.
On a pee spree.
Yep, she peed on the Bible. Peed all over the room. Then filmed herself taking a big old dump on the floor, to which she scooped up and put into the tank of the toilet.
Why put it in the tank of the toilet?
Because every time you flush, the water come out all poopy, so you'd never actually get a clean thing.
That is nasty.
Have you never heard of that trick?
No.
Peeing into the tank or putting a poop in the tank, and then every time you flush, it just breaks down and comes out. It's not clean water coming out of it, then it's just going to keep...
So I wouldn't mind, but that face looks like she's been fucking crying. She doesn't deserve to fucking...
But if you flushed after someone peed in the back of that, so you pee into it, you flushed, and then you look down, it looks like it didn't flush away your pee. So you got to keep flushing.
Oh, I get you. That's really mean.
I've heard of worse. People putting fishes in there and stuff like that to stink up the whole house and stuff like that, and you wouldn't know where it is. And I know the drunks often hide their booze inside in toilet cisterns.
I knew a girl in college, and she had friends over to stay, and then the next day she was going buttering her sandwich. Now, when I say it was her friends, it was her roommate's friends, right? And she's going buttering her sandwich, and whoever had been over had scooped the butter out, did a shit in the tub, and then put the butter back on it.
Holy shit, that's nasty.
That is, of all the things. If it was me, I don't care. I would have gone further about it, because that is fucking, it's
Yikes. That could be, well, that would make you sick.
It would make you sick.
And what'd she do?
Didn't eat the sandwich.
Finished her sandwich and went and complained.
Can you imagine? No, I would have definitely fuck him. Like, I would have gone somewhere further about that. That's like, you're a dirty fucker.
College
you deserve to be named and shamed.
I will admit that. College age boys suck ass. They're terrible. Like, you know? Especially in a group.
Yeah. Oh yeah, in a group,
you know?
no. But I lived with 1 or 2 guys in college, and they were actually like, they were a decent sort. But yeah, some of them.
You know. Especially if they're that kind of almost jock mentality, you know.
Lads.
Yeah. Lads, that's what the lads. This girl, anyway, her name was Kinky Kelly on OnlyFans. Spelled with Kinki. No, to be fair, this is from the New York Post, right? So whatever fine she gets for this shit, literally shit, she's probably made up her money by them advertising who she is and where she can be found.
Yeah, that is true.
I mean, all she's getting is a criminal mischief charge. I can't imagine that holds a large
There should be a public health fucking charge there somewhere. Criminal mischief. That's a lot more than mischievousness. But I mean, like...
Criminal mischief just sounds like boys being boys. Kind of shit. Like,
sounds like fairies getting up to no good. Yeah.
Well, that's what she's getting. I'd assume a fine that she will make up with the advertising. Like, she got good advertising.
There should be a conviction. Honest to God. Something like that. You could have made people sick.
Every dirty fucker reading this is going to be subscribing tonight.
Oh, I hope OnlyFans get rid of her because...
I mean, they're only after getting rid of Bonnie Blue, so I can't imagine
that was for her whole petting zoo idea.
What was that going to be?
She was going to be in a glass box and you could just do anything to her.
Okay. So what's the difference between her doing that and an artist doing it? Because I read last week and it was being pumped as a positive thing about this woman who did the exact same thing. She put herself in a box. She couldn't actually do anything about it, and she gave everybody the freedom to do whatever she wanted. She had sex with like a bunch of different guys who came in, but it was literally like she was going to be a sex worker, but in a box. But she's an artist, so does that make that okay?
No, because this is the same woman. I know that woman. That's the same woman that a few years beforehand, I think this was like in the late 70s or early 80s, she set up a table and there was like guns, there was knives, but there was also pleasurable stuff on the table. And she stood there and for like, I think it was like half a day or 12 hours or something like that. It was basically, she had no free will, but the audience had free will. So they could like pick something on the table and do whatever that they wanted to her. She was fully aware. Recently. No, it's constantly doing the rounds in the news, but it's not. This woman now, she's older. She's done a modern performance piece again as an older woman.
But didn't a younger woman do this lately? Well, she didn't put weapons up, but she
short
stood
hair.
there. Yeah, she stood there and it was kind of you could do whatever you want to me. And
that's her. It caught me off guard as well when I was reading the year. It's the same thing, but there was weapons there and people did cut her. People hugged her, people caught her, but like by the end of it, she was like shaking and crying. Like she said at one stage, she honestly thought she was going to be killed. It's like, you put a fucking gun on a table, like you don't know who's going to walk in. Like,
but that's it. I mean, that's
it's bonkers.
I couldn't. Yeah, I think that's a little.
She also did this performance piece not too long ago where she's sitting at a table and you just go up to her and you sit across from each other in silence and you stare into each other's eyes. And it's supposed to bring up like a lot of emotions and stuff like that. So her partner from like the 80s came up and they hadn't seen each other since and sat down and like stared at her and she started crying, but they didn't say anything. And he kind of nodded then and left. But like
Alfred and Batman at the end of The Dark Knight Rises.
Except that's way more beautiful. I got teary when we watched it again the other night. It's just lovely. Good old Alfred.
Good movie.
Yeah.
Speaking of good movies, let's give this a try.
Yes.
If my thing will load. There it is. Right. So I've been saying lately that I'd like for us to focus more on movies on the show. Right? I think we kind of jump in and out of the true crime thing every now and again. But I do like these, dumb criminal stories every now and again. But I think it should be like a shorter segment in this show. And that we should really focus our time in on news and reviews. If there's not enough news, we do more reviews. Right?
Yes, yeah.
Because we've been watching a shitload lately, and I think we've just gotten stuck into it of instead of watching TV shows, it's movie.
I'm actually enjoying that lately more so than a TV show.
Like the way we're doing it as well is almost like we find a genre, a theme, and we're following it for a week or so, and then we move on to something else. So this week we're going to kick off our reviews with something that's not quite horror, but then again,
it might be.
Maybe it is. We spent the week watching dystopian future sci-fi movies, or more specifically, work inspired by Philip K. Dick.
Yes.
So, this week we watched Blade Runner, Total Recall, Minority Report, and Screamers.
Screamers. I nearly said Scanners.
Of the four, Screamers is the only movie with an actual horror tag attached to it. Mm-hmm. But I'd argue the dystopian future movie deserves their place in the horror conversation.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, they're written and aesthetically designed to cause us anxiety about what's to come. And in the case of these movies, it's not a serial killer or a ghost or a monster that's terrorizing the characters. It's the government. It's the powers that control our everyday life, and it's the tech that we champion now as a tool to make our lives easier. Work of Philip K. Dick usually revolves around similar themes. Mostly, it's the power of AI and the machine over the human race, the ability of these machines to become self-aware, and the idea of our mind becoming untrustworthy in a world that's becoming more and more about distraction by the day. So let's start with the obvious one when it comes to talking about making your mind untrustworthy.
Yes.
And that's Total Recall from 1990, directed by Paul Verhoeven and starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. Now, to view this in a bubble, it seems like a straight up action movie, right? With elements of humor peppered in here and there. I mean, Arnie is the middle-aged fucking woman disguise.
Yeah.
Pretty comical, to be fair.
Yeah.
You know? But when you dig a little deeper and really think about what you're watching, how could you not see elements of horror in this movie? You know?
Yeah.
Let's look at the story to start with. You got Arnie playing the character of Douglas Quaid, a construction worker in the year 2084 who is having reoccurring nightmares about a life on Mars. Not life on Mars, but his life on Mars. This is a time when Earth has colonized many planets, and Mars is one of those planets. Now under the control of the tyrannical regime of Vilos Cohagen. Mars is being mined for the valuable turbinum ore. It's always, all these movies, it's mining the shit out of the planet.
It was the same in Alien, wasn't it? They were mining companies.
Same in Screamers.
Yeah.
You know, there's all these different type of something yum. You know, something fancy yum at the end. You just put IUM at the end of something and suddenly it's a precious chemical. You know? Quaid, unable to shake this dream, decides to use the services of Recall, a company that provides artificial memories for people who want to guarantee a fun and safe trip somewhere. So you want to go, we'll just say, for instance, you always said you wanted to go to Egypt to see the pyramids, but we both said it's a bit dangerous to go there.
At the moment.
And they don't even let you get up that close to them anymore anyway, do they? They kind of keep you back.
You're not allowed to climb them anymore.
Fuck that. If you go to Recall, you can climb right to the top and stick an Irish flag up there.
Nice.
That's the point. It gives you a safe trip. It guarantees you're going to have fun. Nothing's going to go wrong, and everything you want to happen is going to happen.
Or does it?
But when the process goes wrong, Quaid finds buried memories, believing himself to be part of a giant conspiracy, leading him to believe he is actually Hauser, a secret agent who needs to go to Mars and take down the evil villain Cohagen.
But that's the thing. Did it actually go wrong?
Well, that's what we're going to talk about if my computer stops jumping everywhere. Now, I don't know about you, but the thought of not being able to tell reality from fiction is fucking terrifying. Straight off the bat. I mean, Shutter Island is fucking built on the fucking thing, like, you know? This guy signs up for the ego package, where he is set to have a fun, false mission to Mars, where he thinks he's a secret agent. The purpose of the Recall trip was to provide him with an adventure where he visits Mars and defeats the bad guy and gets the girl. The girl that he's been dreaming about, which is creepy.
The girl that he also picked.
Huh?
I'm just saying.
I get it. On top of that, if it is really happening, the idea of having your mind reprogram the false memories, something Dick loved to include in his stories, like Blade Runner or Minority Report. I mean, imagine finding out that your whole life memories are a lie. Your wife is a secret agent who's only close to you to keep an eye on you. Your friends, your family, everyone you hold dear are enemies. Babysitters whose job it is to ensure you never get wise, or at least you don't get wise until they need you to.
Yeah.
Couple this with the horror of Cohagen. I keep going to say Copenhagen. Cohagen holding the power of life on Mars in his hands at all time, controlling the flow of oxygen to the colonies, able to switch it on and off in each district at will. It had me on the edge of my seat from beginning to end. It's a real classic and one of Schwarzenegger's best films, in my opinion, outside of Terminator 1 and 2. But I mean, in terms of...
And Daddy Daycare. Not Daddy Daycare. Kindergarten Cop.
Twins.
Twins and Junior. I forgot about them.
But when it comes to these big action fucking movies, this is a pretty much up there as one of the best. I mean, it does. The whole movie, you and me were looking at each other as, yeah, he's definitely in the dream. No, he's definitely not in the dream. Oh shit, is he in the dream? I don't know, is he in the dream? If that sky turns blue, he's in that fucking dream.
I think he was definitely in the dream because number one, the sky did turn blue, and number two, that was a jealous woman. She was 100% a jealous woman, and she was too jealous for the short time that she was saying that they were together. At the very, very start of the movie, when she jumps on top of him, she's like, oh, who is she? Because she's getting jealous of that woman that he's dreaming about, that he's having the dreams about. That was 100% jealous, but like, it's, that kind of way, that felt like real jealousy.
Hang on, was it jealousy, or was it, oh shit, this guy's starting to pick up some memories, we need to find out how much he knows? What's he remembering? What's he remembering in his dreams? Is he remembering this woman we know as a fucking rebellion leader? Is this something we need to worry about? Is his programming failing? Of course she's going to dig in deep.
I will say it all hinges on that throwaway line. We know he is in the dream because before they put him under, it's a memory. He's like, oh, the sky's blue in this one. Never seen that before.
Well, that's it. It does. It hit every single beat of what his package was supposed to be like, I mean, that does make it interesting, but at the same time...
Oh, then they find the generator. Yeah, you see, I'm confused again now.
What generator?
The oxygen generator that makes the sky blue. Yeah.
Yeah, but that again is part of the story. I mean, the story was he's supposed to struggle against the bad guys, beat the bad guys. Yeah, it's part of the
story, or did it actually happen in real life? And that's why Mars, it got the blue sky. Maybe that's always been there.
I don't know. All I'm saying is it definitely holds a place in a little section of horror for me. I think Dystopia just instantly pours out this horror.
Yeah.
I mean, so we see these themes of the mind being untrustworthy played out in a number of these movies, with Blade Runner and Minority Report, as I had mentioned earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Blade Runner with the idea of AI or replicants having false memories to disguise from the fact that they're simply machines. And Minority Report with the idea of manipulating memories to serve the purpose of the villains or the powers that be. So Blade Runner from 1982 is another Ridley Scott classic with Harrison Ford as the grizzled vet cop whose job it is to hunt down the rogue replicants and retire them.
So polite.
Huh?
So polite.
What, retiring them? AKA, I'm about to kill you. As he journeys through the dystopian Los Angeles in search for 4 replicants who have come to Earth in search of their creator and more time, because replicants only have a 4-year lifespan. Ford's character Deckard is forced to confront the moral implications of providing these machines with false memories and the idea of not knowing the difference between false and real memories.
I think it's quite cruel in that sense.
Why?
To give this thing that's only going to have a 4-year lifespan, to give it memories like that, and then retire them. I think that's when it gets there. There's a skewed moral compass. You shouldn't.
But the retirement only comes if they go rogue.
But they only have a 4-year lifespan. Why only give them a 4-year lifespan if you're going to give them all these like emotions and memories?
Any further than that,
I think but you've just given them a whole life. You've given them feelings. You've given them memories.
Well, if they shut down naturally, they're not going to realize that they're dying. Like, it's just going to be a.
Okay.
I mean, you saw the bad guy at the end. He just slowly starts to fucking break down and eventually just kneeling there gone, because his time is up.
I know. I just think,
the problem is he became self-aware of the fact that he was a replicant.
Yeah.
And I would assume, because all of the replicants are supposed to be off-world, which I actually didn't even think of questioning why Rachel was around there.
Rachel came down. She was.
But she was living there with the creator of that. No, maybe
I thought the creator was living up in the sky. Didn't he have to take his little flying car up there to the creator's place? That's why they were so close to the sun. And he was like, it's very bright in here, and they had to darken the room. That's what I thought. Maybe I'm wrong. And then she followed him back down to Earth. Now, I don't think they were out of the atmosphere or anything like that. I just think that she was technically off world because she was up in the air. Now, I could be wrong. That's what I took away from it.
Maybe. Anyway, where was I here? Action-packed and with a thought-provoking premise, Blade Runner will leave you with more questions than answers, which we have just found there. I mean, again, a dystopian future sci-fi, I feel like it falls into a horror subsection.
It does.
That leaves you kind of feeling almost claustrophobic, A feeling I think gets more intense as the movie ages. I mean, think about what when a lot of these movies were made, or even when the original story was written by Dick. He wrote this stuff in like the 60s.
Yeah.
Under the awesome title of "Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep?"
I love his titles.
Do you know why that is? Well, I can hang on. And the movie then was made in the early 80s. But the name of the movie, because the story in the book is slightly different to the Blade Runner story. Now, Blade Runner is actually the title of a completely different book.
Mm-hmm.
And they bought up that Blade Runner story just to take the title and put it onto the Blade Runner movie. But Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep is Deckard is 100% human in that one. There's no question of it afterwards as to whether he is or isn't a replicant. He is a human. He's married. He has a wife.
Okay.
The wife is severely depressed or something like that. So I can't remember why she's depressed. Obviously, probably because of their shitty dystopian life. But all of the pets in that time are robotic.
Okay.
And you have to be extremely wealthy to own a proper animal.
Okay.
And he takes the job to hunt down the 4 replicants so he can afford to buy her a real sheep to replace the robot sheep. And then after he's killed 2 of them, retired 2 of them, he has enough money to buy that sheep, and then he decides he's going to go after the other 2 to buy something else, and it just kind of goes along like that.
And that's why they mentioned the replicant animals, obviously, as they called the original story.
Yeah, there's a bunch of books as well that were written after as sequels to Blade Runner.
Okay.
And one of those books revolves around the owl.
Oh,
and the importance of the owl. And I obviously haven't read the book, so I don't actually know what it is, but Deckard isn't in that one. It's a different Blade Runner trying to help the company find and the soul because it was important to them. Obviously, I suppose they're extremely expensive. Yes. So anyway, when this shit was written, this was a time when all this stuff could still be classified solely as science fiction. But as the years roll on, the science fiction is slowly becoming science fact. When this came out, robots and AI were just a dream, a thought, an interesting story that could happen in the distant future. But now that distant future isn't so fucking distant anymore, making these movies more and more a prophecy than a tale. A lot of what is suggested in these movies are coming to pass. The rise of AI, the integration of more and more automated services, the civil and social and international unrest with a threat of war constantly standing on our doorstep. So, I mean, maybe we're already in the dystopia.
Maybe.
Again, we're kind of left wondering at the end, is Deckard a replicant or not? Similar to Total Recall, where we are kind of left wondering if what we are after seeing is a real adventure or an implanted memory.
I just took it at the start of Blade Runner when he was looking at the pictures that he most likely was a replicant.
I didn't pick up on it the first time. And to be honest, from what I know, what we watched the last day would have been a director's cut.
Okay.
Because in the original version, which I've never seen, Harrison Ford is narrating an awful lot of it.
Oh,
and
that
unicorn
sounds
scene
familiar.
isn't in it.
Okay.
And the ending is different. They give him more of a happy ending, apparently.
Okay.
But the version we saw was the director's cut. Apparently, Harrison Ford had to be pulled in, kicking and screaming to do the narration. Did not want to do the narration. Didn't want it to be in the movie. Thought it was going to be a fucking stupid idea. To this day, calls it a stupid fucking idea.
I could understand
Ridley Scott
that.
said Harrison Ford is one of the hardest people he's ever worked with. That he was just, and that the argument as to whether he was a replicant or not went on fucking daily. To the point that no one on set could agree.
So, what did
they
Ford
don't
think?
fucking know, so there's no way of us knowing.
But as in for the person playing him, because obviously you get into the nitty gritty of the character.
Harrison Ford didn't think he was a replicant because he felt the film needed a human anchor for us to latch onto.
Okay, I disagree with you.
To help with the thing. And he didn't agree with the idea. He has, since the sequel has come out, he's eased up on that a little bit, and he's just like, well, you know, I think he probably is a replicant.
Yeah.
Even though I thought watching the new one that it was almost a fucking guarantee he was a replicant. I thought they were saying that the 2 replicants got together and made a child, so that's why it's fucking amazing. Whereas then I kind of realized, go on, is like no one's ever said that even in this movie that Ford is a fucking replicant. They just said he mated with a replicant who then had a child.
But
so we don't know if his daughter is half replicant, half human. Is she a hybrid or is she full replicant? Because I mean, obviously at the start you assume Batista is the father of the child until later on in the story, like, you know.
That's why I felt sorry for him. Where you were like, he's after killing his father.
But there was portions of it, and I was sitting there. I was like, what's even fucking led him to go looking for Deckard? I mean, when did Deckard come into the conversation?
Thank God. I thought I just slipped out for 2 minutes. Like, yeah.
But I don't know why the story leads towards him.
Because I
Obviously,
think it's...
Gosling knew, or Kay knew, that this guy was...
It's because he found the memory, the recorded memory for Rachel, and then he heard Deckard in it. And then
that was played for him earlier as well.
Yeah.
It is an example of an interview, isn't there? One of these tests.
And I think that's how he made the connection to go look for Deckard.
I don't know. Anyway, it was just, I enjoyed it.
Me too.
I mean, who isn't? I mean, Blade Runner is the classic. Everyone calls it the classic. It's a classic for a fucking
I watched
reason.
it again tonight.
But it does keep you fucking thinking. And it does kind of have you kind of... Because I always said that. I only said this like literally in the last week or two. Because my brother sent me a video of a factory I used to work in and a factory he is working in. And there was 2 robots. Full-on fucking robots in the factory.
And it's not like hand robot, like an arm.
When
it's
I was
walking,
there, they called
talking,
a robot.
arms,
it was just
heads.
a big
like,
claw that went like this and picked stuff up for us and moved it around like for us. That's what we called a robot. This was...
just missing a face.
And one of those Elon Musk fucking Tesla robot looking motherfuckers, like, you know, and it was walking around and they were making it do tricks and stuff like that. And I was like, holy shit. And I said to my brother, I was like, so what's the plan? Are they going to put them on the presses with you and have them lift all the heavy shit for you so you don't have to kind of avoid injuring more people there, like, you know? And he said he doesn't know because they're not actually using them yet. But I was like, you know, thinking about it, if I was there working with it, I would be so fucking caught as to what to do because there's 2 problems here. One is I'd want to be polite to the robot.
I think I'd say thank you.
I wouldn't be able to, like,
again.
if we had a robot help around the house, I would end up being friendly with that robot because I wouldn't. Well, it's more out of fear from what I've seen from these movies. I don't want it to turn on me someday. If there's a robot uprising, I want the robot to turn on and go, this one's okay.
I think it'd be very hard though not to, you know, if you have any kind of a humanoid thing helping you, that'd be very hard not to go be appreciative, be like, thank you, cheers, be respectful.
And on top of it, I was like, but I have to be careful what I say to it because I understand that the company owns this, and if it is taking in any information from me, it's hearing everything I fucking say and send it back.
Fuckers over there in the office.
Hi, robot bud. Don't trust that prick. Yeah, the boss says dickhead.
You want to bunk off early?
Disciplinary meeting. Fuck! Snitch.
You're just venting. You're not skewing the robot's thoughts. Do you know that kind of way? Fuck that now.
Right. Next up, we have... Very quickly, we're going to talk about this one. Okay. I'm not going to waste too much time on this. So let's talk about Minority Report. Released in 2002, starring Tom Cruise and Colin Farrell and directed by Steven Spielberg. This originally was planned when it went into development way before. This was maybe like late 80s, early 90s. This was going to be a sequel to Total Recall. It was going to be the same years. It was just going to be a sequel. I don't know how they would have worked it.
I prefer it like this.
Total Recall, while we're at it, that original name as a book is called We Sell Memories Wholesale.
That's a good name as well.
Yes.
They both sound like the name of songs.
Minority Report's original name was The Minority Report.
Oh, that's about as good as the doll.
Tom Cruise acting.
No, as the doll calling the fucking Children's Hospital, the National Children's Hospital of Ireland, and paying $4,000 to find the name.
Hey, yet we can't build houses.
Nope.
Good job, guys. So this movie gives real 1984 vibes, right? Mm-hmm. Almost like a precursor of what is to come in that story, if you ask me. Mm-hmm. You know? So using telepathic siblings, the police use their dreams of murder to intercept the would-be killer prior to the crime. The near-perfect system ensures the murder rate is dropped to 0 and the prophesized killer is incarcerated before having a chance to commit the deadly sin. But is it really that perfect, or can dreams and memories be manipulated? Dick loves this shit, man. Fuck with the mind.
Maybe
as much
it was
as
a real
possible.
Paranoid like fear for him, like.
Possibly, but I mean the 60s. I mean, we didn't even have the internet yet.
Yeah, but they had
There's
acid.
no way of connecting all this stuff up. How can you even think of, like, that's the fucked up thing when you think of the future of stuff we might have. I mean, in the 90s, early 90s, I didn't know what the internet was. I couldn't even conceive of the idea of the internet. Like, you know, it seemed wild.
I agree with you, but if you have like a TV screen and you have a phone, like, and they're relatively new inventions, was another thing of, oh, it'll be handy if I could talk to that person on that screen there.
But
does that all like?
Hang on, yeah, all right, fine. Video calls and stuff like that. When I saw it in The Simpsons for the first time, I was like, that's logical.
Yeah.
We'll have that soon. Do you know, I kind of was able to click that much because at that point I had a computer in my house. I'm talking about like 90s, like 5, 6, 7, 8 years old me.
Oh yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah.
First I ever heard of the internet really was when wrestlers would go on AOL chat and they'd show them like backstage after a match. It's like, Shawn Michaels is going to be on AOL chat chatting to you.
Yeah.
Log on now, WWE.com. And I was like, what the fuck
was
is
it
that?
Ever Shawn Michaels? Actually,
Shawn Michaels? Show him there and he'd be finger and one finger at a time typing and staring at the screen trying to work out. Some they did have a tech there with him, but he'd be answering the questions and shit. Again, another great example of not being able to trust your own mind or the authorities who hold all the power. The movie, which had probably the least amount of horror influence in it, but is a great thought-provoking watch despite Tom Cruise's lifeless, emotionless performance.
Had to get it in. He cried.
He has the same face no matter what fucking emotion he's explaining. He does emotion with his voice. That's it. Do you know? Angry Tom Cruise, sad Tom Cruise, happy Tom Cruise. That's it. The face never changes. His dead eyes are constantly staring at you. Like you said it yourself in that movie. It's like we could put any other actor in that role and it wouldn't make a flying fuck of a difference to the movie.
No, they'd have to pay for a stunt double.
He is shy.
He has the emotional range facially of a spoon. Tom
Cruise puts himself into good movies. The movie is good in spite of Tom Cruise's involvement in the movie. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The movie is always big enough that putting Tom Cruise into it will not hinder it.
I agree with you for the most part, but maybe I'm just biased because it's one of my favorite movies. But I'm just saying there's some lines that he delivers that are very well delivered lines.
When he's a vampire.
No, not just when he's a vampire.
I just think he's terrible. God, hang on. As we watched that movie, I did give it the benefit of the doubt and I turned around and I said, I can see from what I've seen of him in the 80s, he had a bit more life in him.
But do you think that's why military men roles suit him? Because he is action roles. But no, A Few Good Men, that is a really, really good movie, and he is good in it. Like, you've never seen A Few Good Men, have you?
But that was again late 80s, early 90s, yeah?
Oh yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah.
When he's still young and he doesn't give a fuck. It just feels to me like, I said it to you as we were watching, it was like Tom Cruise to me comes across as a complete psychopath. Like 100%.
Oh, well, yeah.
If he wasn't a film star, we would be talking about him on into live action as a fucking serial.
I thought that with that laugh on Oprah that time.
It's the reason he likes being in Scientology, because he doesn't give a fuck about the religious side of Scientology. He likes that he is the Jesus of Scientology and the whole thing revolves around him. Yes. He is a nice, personable person when you work with him and you're around him, because he can put on that false demeanor coming forward. But then, like you pointed out, when you live with the cunt and have to spend 24 hours a day with him,
historically, it doesn't work out well.
He is a lunatic. He's a psychopath. He's fucking egotistical. He's fucking controlling. He's diminutive. He's mental. And then you'd have to think that, whereas because they say like psychopaths get on really well as CEOs and fucking top businessmen.
Yeah.
I think it's a similar
can make
buzz.
the hard decisions.
But that's it. They can cut people and they get the thrill of firing people and big fucking takeovers and cutting people down and all this kind of shit that a serial killer gets when they're killing people. And I think that's why he does all his old stunts. He needs to get that thrill. So he does all this wild shit to make up for it. And that's where he puts his psychopathic energy. Mm-hmm. Well, I 100% think he's a lunatic. I stick by it. I don't like it. And it's not just because of Scientology. I just don't like them. Scientology does not help.
You are not the only man to say that. I'm not the only person. I know a lot more men who say it than women, but it's kind of like a common opinion of him, though. Like, there's just something about him.
The movie, if Tom Cruise is in the movie, it's got to have some other major element to pull me in. I had seen Minority Report before I hated him. Okay.
Yeah.
2002, I was 14, 15. I didn't even know what Scientology was at that point.
15ish, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I hadn't seen him jumping around Oprah's couch yet. So I was fine with him. Because I remember I enjoyed Mission Impossible 2. The only Mission Impossible I've seen.
I've never seen a Mission Impossible.
My brother had it on tape. So we watched it a few times and I enjoyed that second one.
Okay.
But again, I was 12, 13 when it came out, you know? So action, let's go.
Yeah.
Boom. All fun. It was like James Bond with a little extra fucking pep in it, like, you know? But I just can't stand the guy. He's big fucking, there are some big teeth.
They're also, ever since it was pointed out to me that like
show his movie on those teeth.
The midpoint of his teeth is slightly off over to this side. It's always something that draws my. It was pointed out once. I can't remember who pointed it out.
Horses look at Tom Cruise and go, "Fuck me, there's some big teeth."
Do you think they're real teeth?
Jesus Christ, I don't know.
Because they are pretty large.
Oh, one role I loved him in.
What?
Was when they did him in Family Guy and he was Stewie's short friend.
Did you not watch American Made? I thought you liked that movie.
I do, yeah. And again, though, I watched that movie because it was based on a true story that I had read about. So I wanted to see it in movie form. And again, it's not so much he's acting in the movie. He's not a great actor in the movie, but the lines are good and what happens in the story is entertaining.
Yeah, I get you.
But I'll watch that with you. Let you see what you think of it.
And The Last Samurai.
I saw that in the cinema.
You liked that?
No, I didn't. I saw it as the midweek movie on a Wednesday.
Oh.
And that was, again, kind of more, I didn't have a choice because we had 4 channels and this was the only channel with a movie on. You know? So what was we going to do? Anyway, we get to the last one. Sleepers.
Screamers.
Sleepers, completely different movie. Screamers.
It's okay, I called it Scanners at the start.
What I have written here, it confused me. This is as the sleeper of the group.
There we go.
The 1995 Screamer starring Peter Weller, RoboCop, and in the top, he was in the top role, and Christian Duguay in the director's chair. This is a Canadian movie.
Oh, is it? Mm-hmm. Did not know that.
Made in Canada. Before we watched this, I had seen that the reviews for it were less than stellar, and truthfully, the first few minutes didn't do much to quash that fear that this movie was going to be a bit of a dud. How wrong I was. While the movie lacks the effects of big budget sci-fi, the sets and backdrops are a thing of beauty. This movie is just pleasant to watch, you know, to watch him walking around, to look at the background. It seemed huge for the time, like, you know, and truthfully, if you're a 90s kid like I am, the bad effects serve more as nostalgia fuel than a turn off. Do you know?
It felt very Power Rangers at times with the hand-to-hand combat, but it was, I could get that nostalgia feeling.
This movie kept giving me flashbacks of my youth. Not just quick glances back in time, but I mean like fully immersive jumps back to being a child, glued to the screen without a bother in my brain. You know, I was just happy. For nearly 2 hours, I felt like I was back sitting on my parents' sitting room floor with a big tub of popcorn in front of me and nothing else, man. You know?
Yeah.
The story again involves mining on an alien planet, but in this case, the former workers of the mining company are on strike due to the dangerous nature of the chemical they are extracting and the harsh conditions the workers are forced to work in. This causes a drawn-out war between the company and its soldiers and the company and its soldiers and the rebellious workers. To try and squash the rebellion, the company sends AI weapons known as Screamers to the planet. But the self-replicating robots become wise to the world and begin to evolve in a quest to overthrow their human overlords. When they say Screamers too, they ain't fucking joking. Those things go through you.
Yeah.
That noise is unforgiving and irritating. But I mean,
I can see why you would, like petrify you like into like one spot and kind of make you easy pickings for them.
This film is just fun to watch. Funny enough, of all the Philip K. Dick stories, I found this to be the least horrific.
Oh, yeah.
But again, like I said earlier, I was too far down the nostalgia trail to really be bothered by anything.
I enjoyed it.
The scariest stuff in the movie is the child robot when it's in battle, more particularly, you know? When the faces get all plastic looking and the eyes are dead, you know? When they like have them on fire or they've been shot or something, and suddenly they have the prosthetic on it. That dead look. Is they're coming at you going, can I come with you?
I knew it. The second time she said that, I was like, something's not right.
So it's like an unintentional horror brought on by the effects of the time and the available budget.
Yeah.
But this one earned a sequel released in 2009, which I'm looking forward to watching just to see what the horror is like with more up-to-date effects. But from the stills I've seen, Not a very high budget in that one either, so I don't know.
It will be fine. Usually I find when they come up through the years and their budget's low, like the newer ones with low budget, like when it's like big kind of action ones like that, they're not great. It's easier to watch a low budget from back then.
Weird, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
I'm sure maybe kids growing up now watching them would be like, oh, so nostalgic. Look at that cheap, shitty. There's something about, it's like what I said about trauma movies, right? Watching trauma movies from the 80s and 90s are fun.
Yeah.
Watching modern trauma movies where the picture is too clean takes you out of it. You know, you always need that grainy old look to the picture to make this kind of style work.
So how do you feel about Toxic? Do you think it's going to be...
But that's different because that's high budget, fucking great actors, top class. That's a different set. I'm talking about like when...
Ron Jeremy. When you go back to his kind of time period in it.
But that's what I'm saying. When you look at the first 2 or 3 classes of Newcomb High, great fucking movies, enjoyable to watch. So fucking stupid. Do you know everything about them is stupid? The acting is cheesy, but it's over the top and it's just so fun to fucking watch. But then we watch the new Return to Newcomb Highs. Do you know the was it 2 Girls, 1 Duck? And all this kind of stuff. And there's a lot of actors in it I like, but it was harder for me to enjoy it because the picture was so clear and clean and crisp, and it was like, I don't want this in 4K.
No.
I want this cheap shit to look like cheap shit. Do you know? Don't polish the turd. You can't polish the turd. Don't do it.
Because it makes it worse.
Just leave it the way they go back to those old school, old filters. Be nostalgic. Lean into the nostalgia. Do you know, you're going to keep people with that old, and you get away with far more fuck-ups on an old school looking thing. You get away with bad effects so much easier on an old school look than you do with really bright, brand new fucking squeaky clean pictures. You know, you can pick stuff out easier when stuff is in 4K. I don't need it in 4K. I don't even need it in high definition. Let's go back to SD, man. Standard definition for this shit.
I agree.
But so that's why I'm a bit sketchy about that. I still have to watch the Total Recall reboot as well with Colin Farrell in the main spot.
Oh, I forgot.
There's no mission to Mars in that one though.
Oh.
It's all on Earth.
Okay.
So I don't know. Sometimes I think you got a classic. You don't need to touch it. Do you know what I mean? No one's going rushing out there to remake
Gone with the Wind.
Or well, no one's. We'll just say Star Wars, for instance, right?
Oh yeah.
You got 3 movies there that were made in the late 70s that no one is going to remake because they're the way we want them. We don't want you to touch them.
They don't want CGI.
No one's rushing out there to make a new ET.
No.
We've been screaming for a new Gremlins for fucking decades and they haven't touched them either because we got these old ones that are perfect. And we know, and the directors themselves know, as soon as we come out with something new, you're going to shit all over because it's not the old. Do you know?
Oh, yeah.
So I don't, why bother? You know?
It's not broke, don't fucking fix it.
But that's it. That's my argument as well. Instead of fucking trying to make them look brand new and up to date, stick with the old formula and keep going. It's why horror has leaned into practical effects more than CGI. Because CGI takes you out of it.
It does.
Takes you away from it. Whereas practical effects still have that oomph and that nostalgia factor on top of it. And it pulls you in. It looks more gruesome.
But there was, even in Minority Report, there was some CGI used. And it was like, oh my God, I remember seeing this for the first time. And I was like, that's class. And now I can quite clearly see that it's not the best CGI because of the time. Probably what it was when it was made.
Scanners.
But like...
Oh, it's not scanners. It's
Screamers.
There's some CGI when the robots are walking around. It's like, dude, you knew the budget was low when a 1995 movie has got the same level of effects as the original Terminator movie from the 80s, you know? It was like, or even better, Total Recall, when Annie has to take off the girl costume, the female costume. Can we lift that up? And it is the most paper mache Arnold Schwarzenegger head that's standing there looking at
it. Takes you out of it for 2 seconds. Like,
you could have just clipped away from him, we would have been fine.
Yep.
Anyway, that's it. That's my first movie reviews on the show.
Good reviewing.
I enjoyed it. We got to discuss some movies. I think I might find this harder to do with slasher movies and stuff like that. We're trying to find very similar themes and stuff in most of those movies.
Why don't we find an author or a director and just run with that for like a week?
Try and go through a few of their movies and see what it's like. Because we kind of have been doing that lately. I mean, yeah, we'll see.
It's an idea.
And if we watch a TV show, I could do the same thing. We can go because I mean, look, let's face it. It's rare that we don't watch something that's horror or horror adjacent.
Horror adjacent,
I will say though, I have realized over the last week, as much as I absolutely adore horror, I think deep down my favorite type of movie is not just sci-fi, because sci-fi, overly complicated, nerdy sci-fi doesn't do it for me. Do you know, like if you get into like all the Star Trek and you start getting into the nitty gritty and it goes on and on and on and on, there's a long lore to it. It's very hard to follow. Star Wars is different. I got into that as a child.
Okay.
So it's easier to follow. And even then, I'm a Star Wars fan, but I mean, I haven't read any of the books. I haven't read any of the comics.
You watch the cartoons every so often.
I did. I watched the Clone Wars, but again, it was on and I'd kind of be glancing at it and looking away, or I'd be reading something and watching bits of it, or I'd be playing on my phone. It wasn't something I stuck completely into.
Yeah.
I just saw there was elements of it that I enjoyed, and I wanted to just see the story, the gap in the story that we don't have between two movies, you know? Yeah. So it was interesting, but I haven't watched any of the rest of them since, and it's just because it's just a bit too calm for me, a bit too, just not enough. I'm not big on that. I mean, I know if it's been released on live action, movie or TV, I can tell you about the Star Wars stuff, but I'm not enough that I can go deep into the lore of Star Wars for you. It's just not me. So these sci-fis or these dystopian future sci-fis, I fucking love.
Yeah.
There's something about them that's very fucking like, it's very kind of a comfort movie for me.
Gotcha.
Which is weird. Because sometimes I'm watching, it's like, I'd love to live there.
Means you like a good story.
But sometimes I'm sitting there thinking I'd love to live there. And then it's like, all these people are having an awful hard time. Why do I want to be here?
There is nothing about Blade Runner that made me want to live in that city.
I just want to walk around and look at it.
Yeah, well, I'd like to walk around and look at it for a week, but I'm not living there. You need to send me somewhere sunnier as well.
No, this the dystopian future, it's a rule. It's got to rain constantly all the time. That's the rule. You watch any dystopian future movie,
it will rain.
Raining, unless they go to Mars, in which case.
Was it raining in Screamers?
It was snowing.
All right, but they're in the sunny part as well.
It was sunny for the opening scene. They went inside, had a cigarette, came back outside, and the place was white. And it stayed snowing for the rest of the fucking movie.
It was really hard to take that as snow, though, because I saw the desert first, and I was like, it's just got really white sand now.
Yeah. Well, look, that's it. I enjoyed those movies this week. I'm going to watch one or two more dystopian future movies I can find, and then we'll move on to the next topic.
Yes.
We'll see what that might be. So what do we got this week on everything else before we get the fuck out of here? Mini Monsters. You want to check that out? We got that on Patreon. Free. Absolutely fucking free. You don't got to pay shit for it. You don't got to sign up for anything. All you need to do is go to Patreon, look us up, and they are there for you to play. Or you can go on Spotify, find their Spotify feed, and there's even a link on the top. You can click over there. The stuff you can listen to that's free has a little play marker on it. The stuff that you can't listen to that's not free, that you got to pay $5 for, little lock on it. Really simple shit, you know? So check that out. That's awesome. I think this week we have...
The Doulahan?
The Doulahan is coming up, yeah. That's this week coming. This Monday.
Yes.
And we just had Skunk Ape come out, was it?
Sorry, Doulahan was this week. Skunk Ape is...
No, Doulahan's the next one. I don't know, I'm lost. There's loads of them there. There's nearly 100 of them up now.
Yes.
Close to 100. I think we're in the 90s now with them.
You're right, it's the Doulahan, sorry.
It's a live action, the bonus show. We just released that yesterday, and we talked all about the Long Island serial killer. Mainly because I just didn't want to get into a whole lot of cannibal stuff again, because it's going to come up so many times with the stuff we're talking about that I just felt we talked about kind of cannibalistic stuff the week before, and religious stuff, kind of religious killers with cannibalistic elements. Yeah. And I just said, fuck it, this week we're going to just kind of step away and not do anything related to the main show and talk about something topical, because the new documentary is out. Gilgo Murders, House of Secrets.
House of Secrets.
And that's on Peacock, and it's a really good fucking watch. It's
House of Horrors or House of Secrets?
House of Secrets,
yeah.
But it's really interesting. It's one of the few times you actually get to see the family process the whole fucking situation from day one, almost from day one. Like, really early on in the investigation, you are with them and you are watching. It seems like you're with them from the point they get the house back from the police.
Yeah, yeah.
And you are following them as they're processing all this shit in their head and trying to get it. Like I said in the show, like you can see his daughter Victoria. You can almost see the cogs turning behind her eyes as the information is coming to her, and she feebly kind of tries to stand up for him. Not stand up for him, but kind of be like, we'll see when the evidence comes in. I don't believe not until the evidence comes in. And then eventually it's just like, oh, shit.
They got him.
It's him. 100% it's him.
Yeah.
Also playing with Bones, that we just finished up season 3 of that, talking all about awful illnesses from the past.
And cures.
A few cures, which are equally as awful. Go check that out. That's up on Patreon now. And this week coming, we are going to be starting season 2 of Wrestling with Time, where we talk about the funks. Bring in the funk, baby.
Nice.
We're going to start with Dory Sr., then Dory Jr., then Terry. It's going to be 4 episodes. So I don't know if Terry's... Like, the other 2 are short-ish. Because Dory Jr. and Sr. is very similar to my NWA problem. Dory Sr. is from a time where there wasn't much scandal being publicized. And Dory Sr. doesn't seem like a very scandalous person. Dory Jr. seems almost identical to his dad.
Okay.
They have great careers and great accomplishments, which we'll go through. But in terms of wild stories, that doesn't really happen till you get to Terry. So I don't know if Terry's going to end up being 1 or 2 episodes or 1.5 episodes. But the 4th episode, if we're not doing more of Terry, or if we stop short with Terry, I'm going to try and find a few of their matches so we can watch the matches and talk about them as they're happening.
Cool. Probably
more Terry's matches because they're more interesting.
Okay.
Because I did look up Dory Funk Jr.'s latest match as an 83-year-old in a death match, barbed wire exploding death match. And I only saw a few clips. That man shouldn't be in the ring at his age. That's it. Outside that, the main show, we have just released the Fuad Ramsey's Part 2, which is all based on the great Blood Feast by Lewis Gordon. Herschel Gordon, I'm all over
Herschel
this.
Gordon Lewis.
Yes, Herschel. My man, Hersch. But yeah, I had fun doing that. It was enjoyable, and we're going to be moving on with something more a bit different next week.
Yeah,
won't say right now, but yeah, it's a bit different, but it's enjoyable. I want to mix stuff up.
Yeah,
I got the next few weeks all planned out. I know
you
what we're doing. Well, there's some good stuff coming up. So if you want to check all that out, that's at the Horrorverse Network on Patreon at $5 a month, 7-day free trial for new subscribers. Go check it out. And if you don't want to subscribe, there is a bunch of free shit up there. Mini Monsters is free. The main show is free. This show is free with video. And every now and again, I'll throw an odd bonus show at you for free too, just for fun.
Nice.
So go check it out. We'll be back next week with more news, reviews from the Horrorverse. See you all next time. Same alive time, same Horrorverse channel. Okay, love you. Bye-bye.
Love you. Bye-bye.